This is the game where reality rolled up to the curb, told the driver, leave the car running, I'll only be a minute, then walked inside the arena. Looked around, saw 16,000 fans wearing Believe t-shirts, smirked, then whacked a team, a fan base, and a city over the head with a mallet. Because while nothing actually ended Friday night, for the first time in more than 3 months, it looked and felt like the Hawks were lesser beings. It looked and felt like they were being shown the exit.
Just be like half hour.
Define. Well, I do got one. We're playing the Hawks right now. Okay, but I don't think we'll be playing them for much longer. But I have a little fun intro for you guys. So put on your thinking caps. Okay, I know Flate hates these. He's always saying cut it after we do them. But if all animals were the same size, who would win in a fight? Probably wouldn't be a hawk because they're getting killed right now. Who would win in a fight with the assumption of they get the same abilities that they have from their normal size? So
what kind of animal is a 76er?
Ben Franklin, dude, with that lightning coming in hot. Damn straight. What animal wins? I got my answer.
I was gonna go with something weird, like a snake.
Out of all animals, a polar bear, right? It's a hippo. It's a hippo. Hippos win.
Remember, no. They're any animal. They're the same size. So think more on it. Think more deeply.
Spiders.
Not just.
I was gonna say like a rat or something, maybe. Like they're kind of feisty.
Probably humans because they have guns.
If it's a pack animal, like with a lot of no, we're not really counting humans in this mix.
Yeah.
Although I agree, Belko, you are an animal.
I'll say if all animals are the same size, then spiders will win in a fight because they'll just wrap the other person up.
They'll wrap them up.
I would say.
I was gonna say ant. I was thinking ant immediately because they can lift like 10 times their size. So if they're whatever size, also spider. Probably some weird insect that's gonna win this fight.
Honestly,
being honest,
I think insects, if they were the size of any other animal, would just be horrifying.
Insects are mental.
You know, in their head, they're like ready to come at you too. They're like, oh, if we're your size,
bro.
They're
like robotic.
They're all smug. They're all smug coming in, especially those bed bugs.
All right, we're
going way too hard. All right, that's enough for an intro. So if you wanted an intro, you got it.
Side note, Caputi, how many bed bugs do you run into on a daily?
Hey, if you're going down to the Hojo and it's a bad Hojo,
welcome to the Eagles podcast.
Anyway, animals that are getting beat this week, the Hawks, and we did it. We did it again in game 1, or not game 1, game 3, boys. And FURK showed up. So hi, FURK. Nice to see you. Smile a little bit. There you go. Actually, not that much. Not that much, FURK. Tone it down a little bit. Okay, thanks. So great win from these guys. Another ATL for the Hawks. So if I wasn't punny enough already, this was a big team win in my mind, guys. Right? So no guys really going over the 20-point mark other than Joel and Tobias. I put the full starter list here just to show, like, hey, Isaiah Joe got a minute in this game, and it's a pretty intense series. If he could get a minute, then the Sixers won it. But like I said, great team win, great competition from the bench coming in. 48 points for this game compared to, the 20-point range games that they had in game 1 and game 2. Really love the showing from these guys coming off the bench with a guy like Furkan really leading the group with his 3-point shooting. So what do you guys like from the Sixers in game 3 and what they did, and how would you describe this win, down in Atlanta?
I would say, it's basically what you just said. Like, it's just a team effort right there. Like, I actually kind of liked how we put in the bench, like, pretty early, and, like, they really held their own against the starters, like, which is, like, just speaks like volumes, like, actually how good our bench is.
Right.
And, like, I think it was the first quarter, and then, like, the second quarter came out, and we, like, played really well. Like, we put the starters back in. I don't know, just the bench just showed up today, like, yesterday.
I think after this game, you can just chalk it for the Hawks, man.
Chalking it up,
dude.
They
Make
gave
it
everything they could to us.
4-1.
They tried triple teaming Embiid, and then Embiid would just pass it out to Simmons or just score on his own.
Yep.
Like
They brought the triple team early.
I
Yep.
really think they tried everything they could to stop us, and they just couldn't. And it kind of just broke their spirit in a way.
Yeah, and a lot of guys got action. I mean, Dwight Howard, 12 points in 13 minutes. So, he was basically averaging a point
He's
per
doing
minute
his thing,
coming
man.
in,
Yeah,
just
he
doing,
did.
really no shots, but just those putback points of just getting the rebound, putting it right back up. So Dwight, even with his plus minus a 0, you could say did something, actually made an impact compared to most of the time where he just, gets there, for the rebounds. But like I
Usually
said,
has, like, a
bench
minus
guys.
20.
12 guys in the rotation, so this full list just goes to show, what the bench did. Cork just going off. Really, our shooting across the board. Our field goal percentage, I think, was something crazy. Like 60%, kind of what it's been for the playoffs, right? That's kind of been the story of the Sixers
Our
compared
shooters are
to
on, bro.
compared to the Hawks in 47%. So their shooting was decent. But then again, our 47% 3-point shooting compared to their 26%. So they just couldn't keep up with us at all. There was just, we were shooting lights out, and they couldn't turn the lights on. So
A couple things I want to bring up about the game. Leadership from Embiid that you love to see. First half, Simmons did not do well. I think he only had like 4 points, 3 shots, right? And then in halftime, Embiid took him, told him that they're giving him triple teams, double teams all the time, leaving him open, leaving him path for him to just attack the rim, and he just absolutely went off
Then
in the
comes
third quarter
down.
right after that.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to bring up, the staggered rotations. You noticed since the first half of that game, we've really been staggering the rotations, not letting an entire bench unit really come out. And I think that's
we
really been
learned our
helping. I think
lesson.
even
Well,
at the end of the
Yeah.
game, did you notice Toby was still in?
Oh yeah, Toby was in. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think we learned a lesson of the combination of players, like not just the bench going out there, like combining the starters with some of the bench players, like the shooters, like having a big guy like Embiid with shooters like Korkmaz out there.
The one lineup that there was 2 lineups, I guess. There was FURK in the starters and then Shake in the starters, and minus Danny, and those 2 lineups worked really well for us.
Yeah.
Well, did you find it interesting that sort of without Danny Green, we were saying Thibault might take his minutes, but in this case, it was Korkmaz.
No, see, I think I'm on the train where I think FURK is going to probably start, at least if he continues to be hot. If he comes out the next game and throws a goose egg out there, he's probably going to get taken for Shake. But Doc's going to probably go with one of those 2 guys, FURK or Shake, to be the main guy replacing Danny.
And I don't think it's going to be Shake, and I don't think it's going to be Thibault. And I'll get to kind of my points behind that for the Game 4 pregame as kind of what the strategy should be as far as who you should start in that spot in place of Danny Green. I think it's going to be Cork, and I think there's a lot of reasons. I don't know. I'm not predicting that Doc's going to do that. He might very well put Thibault in just like he did for this game. But I think there's a lot of good reasons to have Cork start in that spot in comparison to other guys.
I want to throw a little wrench in the works right here. I know this probably won't happen, but would you guys ever think about putting George Hill in? Because last year, the top 2 players in the NBA in 3-point percentage were Seth Curry and George Hill. And to have them both on the court at the same time could be killer.
Yeah, no, I'm not there. I'm not there with you. I'm not dying on that hill. I know you've been all on board for George. You've been saying it a lot on the pods. I just don't think he's proved it as much as Cork deserves it, I think.
I just think throughout his career, totally honest, being leading 3-point percentage in the league last year.
I think I think he makes sense because he gives you the shooting plus the defense. So he should, in technicality, be almost like a Danny Green, if not a little bit better, because he has better defense, maybe better defense. But I don't think he's like proving himself in that respect with at least the shooting. I don't think he's done that in the past couple series.
Think that when he's on the court, he's like on ball, but maybe if he had like an off ball role, he could potentially shoot better. I'm not sure.
And that's a possibility too. And yeah, I think his game makes sense for what the replacement should be. I just don't know if he himself is giving that performance at this time.
I think he's capable of it. I really don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it would be interesting if it did.
I just think that whenever you get to the point where it becomes 4 bench guys and 1 starter, that George Hill is someone that you are going to want to run that offense or use to kind of run that offense. And I don't know it pays to kind of have him in with the first team guys.
You want to keep that talent on the bench unit.
Yeah, because I think that there's, you got to kind of figure out, like you just said about the staggered rotations. You got to kind of like plan ahead of that and have
That makes
everyone
sense.
playing specifically.
Because if you take all the shooting from the bench unit, then when they come on, it's going to be doomsday.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know if like we already learned our lesson by playing too many bench guys.
So wait,
Brits, you want? Yeah, go ahead, Brits.
I was just I like kind of like just immediately thought it was just gonna be Thibault just like last game.
Yeah, but
I just feel like I feel like if we keep him out there for more minutes, I just think he has more impact. Like I think he's already proved himself worthy of the spot. It's like I don't know. I think it's like maybe
defensively, yes. I think there's a lot of reasons we can break down why Korkmaz might be that guy, just because of the combination of the big guys plus Korkmaz getting that spacing to allow for his shooting, in replacement of Danny Green. And I do want to like dive into that a little deeper, but
Furk actually played pretty decent defense today too.
And he did. Yeah. So I go ahead, Brits.
No, I was just gonna agree. My whole team played really good defense.
I just want to circle back around to one of the big points that Jackson had brought up. So Embiid, right? You look on the screen here, 8 assists, one more than Ben Simmons. So that's a clear indicator of something, right? It's the triple teaming from the Hawks. They were running the 2-3 zone offense, just trying to pack the paint and stop Embiid from getting down low in the paint, taking his 2-point jumpers and dunks. But with that said, that left guys like Korkmaz and 3-point shooters like Seth open, exposed, left that open in our game for 3-point shots, leaving Embiid to kind of change up his game and say, hey, I won't get the 40-point game, but I'll get the 8 assists and I'll get my shooters some shots to really take this lead in the third quarter and really stretch this game out so they can't come back. So got to give it to Embiid here for, stepping up as a leader and saying like, hey, I don't need to get the 40 points. We can get this win by me getting 3 Hawks on me right now and me just dishing it out to the nearest guy. So that's what kind of, I guess, set the stage for us knowing what we need to do, I think, in game 4. And that kind of leads to what we'll talk about later and why I think Korkmaz should be that guy. But
and not only 8 assists, he only had 1 turnover. So like they're like, we'll triple team him and we'll stop him scoring. He'll just pass out of it. It's no big deal.
He'll just get out of that. And he did. So I think he proved that pretty well.
I was impressed with Seth's defense this last game. I think he stepped up big on defense
and shooting. He kind of does it all.
He's been.
Yeah.
I think
he's been on.
I love.
He's been on.
It's just good to know in a
he's been your guy.
Like
he's been the guy.
That when we take away their best player, like they actually really have to like pray for their guys to be on that night. But we have like a list of guys that we can just go through and just
we got like
as long as 1 or 2 of them are hot, like the game's in our favor.
We got like 3 or 4 consistent shooters on this team right now. It's awesome.
And it's nice to have. So all right, for the people listening out there, if you live under a rock at this point, you didn't see the game or you just didn't see the news that Danny Green is out for probably 2, if not, correct me, Flay, you might have said 5 weeks at this point. So all of playoffs. I think Flay mentioned 5 earlier.
So I saw something that said that quickest timeline 2 weeks, but it could potentially extend to a 5-week.
If it's 2 weeks, then it's the all-net series.
But even,
basically.
It sounds like all of playoffs. So I think it's safe to assume you have to get the team ready to see who that 5th starter is. He left in the first quarter with that left calf strain. So that's where the talks came in of, Doc put in Thibault, but that's where the talks came in of, who's going to be that next starter looking ahead in game 4. Obviously, Korkmaz went off with his 14 points in this game, but I think Jackson mentioned Hill. I think it has to be Korkmaz. Looking at the season, just going off some stats here off the regular season, if Kork's in place of Green's spot with the rest of the starters, they were, I guess this was the stat of the team overall was having, 123.3 points per 100 possessions, 122.9 points per 100 possessions if he was in the spot over Seth Curry. So the team was doing really well. Again, that's with the 3-headed monster of Tobias, Embiid, and Ben Simmons. But, with that said, I think if you have those big guys in Ben and Embiid kind of packing the paint and getting that open shot for Seth and Cork, I think they'll hit them. I just think Danny Green was that specialized corner guy, but Cork is sort of your movement shooter that can take the shot wherever if he gets that pick too. So
I think the one thing is that when you have a lineup with Embiid and Simmons and you want to create that space, Cork gives you, as a defender, that much more of a threat where you have to guard him. You can't just leave him wide
Yeah.
open. Where you can give Matisse an extra step or two because
good point.
he's not a known 3-point shooter. And that's what it really all
Right.
comes down to in the NBA when it comes to creating space, is like having a guy who's just a known threat that you can't sway off of a little bit.
Makes it harder.
Yeah, I mean,
to double
realistically,
team.
at this point, Korkmaz he can shoot from 3, and you really have to guard him. I know in this situation they're going to be triple teaming Embiid, and he's going to be open a lot of the time. So like that's even better. You can just hit him for an open shot, and he'll probably drill it. I think he's probably better at threes than Danny Green at this point. Danny Green is either hot or he's ice cold.
He is ice
He was
cold
hot
this
in the
series.
beginning of the playoffs. He's ice cold
either
right
on
now.
or off. Yep.
He was still playing good defense. I think Cork's not going to give you as good a defense, but I was really on the Danny Green hype train more than you guys were. I thought his defensive impact was really, benefiting the team. But I think, honestly, Korkmaz's game with his offense, if he continues to even play half this good, I think he'll, benefit the team probably about as much as Danny Green. And even looking further into the future, Danny Green, we were thinking about signing him again after this year. Do you think if somebody really steps up, then he's out the door and we'll just next man up?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know we were planning on signing him again.
Well, we were thinking about it. He was only on a 1-year deal.
I mean, it's a thought.
FURK was also a threat on the floor too. He put the ball on the wood a couple times and actually got into the paint. Got some layups.
And he can do that, and I love when he does that. It's so fun to watch. He's pretty smooth with that.
He has a tendency.
Seth can do that.
I expect that out of Seth though.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
FURK,
More
he
so
has
than
a tendency to kind of become what do I want to say? Kind of just like a deer running, he's just gonna kind of go, even if it's or like a baby giraffe almost. He's
running but not thinking.
He's got these legs.
He's just whipping it around.
He's just kind of moving, And,
oh my god!
Sometimes it kind of causes him to turn the ball over or to get some screwed up dribbles and stuff and have to pick up his dribble. But I still love it, because a lot of times he puts the ball on the floor and it's actually not a bad outcome. He either gets to find the pass or gets right to the bucket.
So. Just looking at the stats across the 3 games in the Hawks series, right? So Korkmaz, 4 for 10 from 3 across the 3 games, and then Thibault 3 from 7. So Thibault actually has the better shooting percentage. Probably a good chance he would score another 3 with 3 more shots. But the difference between the two, right, is like we said, Thibault needs to kind of set up his shot. He's more static versus Korkmaz can kind of do it on the run, and that's what I think. Just looking at my notes, I think that's the main difference of why I want Cork over Thibault, at least from an offensive perspective. If Thibault gets that open corner 3, I think he can grow and develop to be that guy who could be almost like Danny Green, where he's like, all right, he's got the legendary defense, and then he can also hit the shot. I think he needs to work on the shot, but I don't think he's there yet, and obviously he's not going to get there in playoffs. So I think I just trust more in Cork right now.
Well, also 3-7 is just so small of a sample size.
Sample size. Well, I mean, it's
40% is good, and Korkmaz is just historically way better at threes than Thibault is. I just think it's just to expect Thibault to keep hitting that 3-7 rate is just insane. It wouldn't happen.
No.
Right. The smaller sample size, the higher percentage you'll have. Obviously, it goes down. More
coming
shots.
around to the fact of we should probably start FURK because I think Thibault is actually most effective. Well, I was thinking about it in my head. I think Thibault's most effective when he comes in later. Other guys are tired, and he's all fresh, and then he can just get the steals, and that's when he creates points.
He's literally the defensive version of a sixth man.
And that's what's going to bring me to my next point that I think was going to sway you too, Brits, was if you have Ben and Thibault in the game, right? They're probably most likely both going to be defending Trey or at least double teaming him, and Trey's probably going to tire them both out. You rather have arrested Thibault coming in after Ben than both of them in there probably tiring themselves out.
And additionally, I feel like they like to use Thibault at the end of the game. When they're really putting the clamps down, that's when Thibault's in for big minutes.
Really hold them,
get well rested, ready to
expand that lead. Exactly.
He got fouled out this game, and pretty early too. Still 3 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
I just want to say that even if the Sixers, win the title this year, I'm going to stand on the fact that up until this point in the playoffs, the officiating has been fucking horrible.
It has been awful.
has been
bad.
so bad. Even the games that we
Yep.
win, like last night, the officials just make so many ridiculous.
Probably worse for the
calls.
Hawks last night.
Dude, I
but-
was like,
Wait.
I was just sitting there like asking my one buddy. I was like, are you seeing this? Like, how is this? Like, how are they allowed to like? These guys look like amateurs out there. Like,
the only game was probably the Bucks Nets game the other night where they actually let them play. It looked like a game from 40 years
like
ago.
They don't let the players put the game in their own hands. Like the refs are kind of like
it's a damn shame.
Making calls at points in the game that just like really
just like slows the game. Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
One thing I wanted to bring up was the like overall sentiment of the Atlanta Hawks fan base right now. One of the beat writers for the Hawks, one of the beat writers for the Hawks said, "This is the game where reality rolled up to the curb, told the driver, leave the car running, I'll only be a minute, then walked inside the arena. Looked around, saw 16,000 fans wearing Believe t-shirts, smirked, then whacked a team, a fan base, and a city over the head with a mallet. Because while nothing actually ended Friday night, for the first time in more than 3 months, it looked and felt like the Hawks were lesser beings. It looked and felt like they were being shown the exit."
Well, that was their first loss. That was their
and that was from a Hawks reporter.
That's from a Hawks team reporter.
That got dark.
I thought we were Negadelphia
since
Damn.
April at home. That was their first home loss since like
Wow. Yeah, they have been on a wild run. So I guess
I heard takes on ESPN saying that the Atlanta Hawks stadium was crazy, that they were going to be livid, they were going to be going nuts, everybody was going to be eating lemon pepper wings in the audience, and the vibe was just going to be too crazy for the Sixers to win. How can you win off of everybody eating lemon pepper wings? That's insane.
Well, no, that was the thing. The story was, don't let that stadium get rowdy or else it's going to be tough to win there. And I'm like, dude, it's Atlanta. They're all, first of all, none of these people are even fans. They're just like, oh my God, our team's in the playoffs. Let's go to the game. It's
yeah,
like,
they did that story on John Collins before on ESPN, like right before the game, about how the gas attendant had no idea he was a basketball player for like 4 years until they just started getting the playoffs and they finally recognized him. It's like, yeah, that's like the fans are getting into it, but they just are only into it because you guys are in the playoffs. Like,
and it's cool. Like, it's good. It's a good thing that they're, they had 16,000 people there. It's a good thing. But like, don't act like it's like that stadium's gonna blow up. Like, I mean, that's like Philly is a stadium where if it gets loud, you're gonna lose. Like the fans take over. Not Atlanta. Not the Atlanta Hawks, at least.
Dude,
and with Embiid and Simmons, who literally feed off of the teams being mad at them, it's going to help them, if anything.
Just watching a Sixers broadcast, like from their arena versus the Hawks, like when you hear our fans start to get into the refs, like organized, like refs, you suck, like over just like a collective
over
fan,
nothing.
Like sigh,
the only thing that fans in Atlanta know how to do is boo and B because he's the only person they know on our team.
Or cheer when he hurts his knee.
I'm surprised I didn't hear the overrated call because I feel like that's the chant that like when I was at a Pacers game a couple years back, they were giving Embiid the overrated chant, and it's like, this is just so funny.
Dude, yeah,
this is just like they got nothing else to say. Like this is bad.
Well,
like,
look at where being the MVP gets you, dude. You're about to get swept.
Dude, I was listening to the radio the other day, and someone called in. And I don't think I've ever heard a dumber person in my entire life.
Oh my God! I'm ready for this. Go ahead.
He called in. He said, "Joel Embiid is average to below average because he can't take over a game in the playoffs like these other guys can, like Haiti, like Kyrie, all these other guys he was naming." I'm like, have you watched the last 2 games? And that's what they said to him. They're like, he's dropped 40 points back-to-back nights. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, but that's against the Hawks. And last year he didn't do anything. Like he never shows up in the playoffs. Like, I'm like, dude, he's doing it right in front of your eyes right now.
It's like someone who's just living
That's got to be a troll.
Their past hate.
It's got to be a troll. Is he from Deffert?
You don't no. if he's not trolling, then he must just really not like Embiid for some weird reason.
Yeah, no, that's either like a troll hot take or a Cowboys fan. Anyway, let's move on. Like, long story short, Embiid is like Bane, and like his bloodstream is filled with like just all hate and booze that just make him stronger. So just if you think you can do that to stop him,
you did have the mask on a couple years ago.
It only makes him stronger.
The man is the #1 basketball player in the world, and he also has the #1 FIFA Ultimate Team.
He's no joke. He's no joke to mess with.
He's literally the best player in the NBA. And we have fans
long story short,
he is the
So-
best and like one of the most well-rounded. He can do almost everything.
Here's
Like-
let's do this right now.
Even tonight,
Okay.
even last
Okay.
night, like early on in the game, he took the ball and literally just drove the entire
Dude, he
court.
can do
and then
whatever he
took it
wants. He's
Like,
He,
dominant.
he can
He's like
he can
Shaq.
literally
They had three
do
people
whatever he wants.
He's like
You know,
Shaq with
in.
handles.
Ben Simmons being a tall point guard, Embiid literally just playing a 7-foot point guard out there.
He's
The-
Shaq who can shoot threes and has handles. It's crazy how good he is.
Sports Radio this week was comparing him in the likes of the top players of all Sixers history in the Dr. J. Wilt Moses range. So
Well-
if he's already being put in that category and he's just getting started.
This
Yeah,
is
I
like,
think the only thing
This is
keeping
this is what's crazy.
away
On a
from
per
number
minute
one is
basis
just
in the
time.
NBA, he has the second highest per minute point average of anybody who's ever played in the playoffs. It's second to Jerry West.
wow.
Yeah. This is history that we're watching.
I was gonna
And we need to take a step back and also just appreciate that because it's fun to be a part of.
ask you guys a question. So if
Go
out of
ahead.
everybody still left in the playoffs right now,
Yeah.
do you take anybody over Joel Embiid?
No.
No, absolutely
no.
not.
I'd agree with that. Only thing I'd maybe
Easy
think
no.
of, the only thing I could think of is maybe KD.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
because
I mean, he literally scores more points per minute than KD.
Yeah, and also
Yeah, I
if you
mean,
want someone who
I said
plays
maybe.
literally no defense.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, are you also thinking about the future and like what's going to
No, I'm
be
talking about right now, these playoffs.
just right now for these playoffs?
Yeah.
No, I'd still say no.
Just
Yeah,
because
there's-
only reason I think of KD is
Yep.
because like he's a Finals MVP and he's won 2 titles. Like it's kind of like
It's like, oh,
He's
you
been
can't
there,
take-
veteran, can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
get
just like
that, but
we have to appreciate that however good KD is, Embiid is actually that good
Embiid
too.
is,
Yeah, he is.
and better right now.
So
for sure.
I think that the Nets series could actually be very similar for Embiid to the Hawks series, assuming we get to that point, and we'll get there. But
We'll get there, and
that
yeah,
man could potentially
Yeah.
put up like 40 and 50-point games like regularly. Like there's no one on the Nets who can defend him. You know, like they're gonna have to double or
right.
triple
They
team him.
they just can't stop him. And then again, that's the same game as what we saw in Game 3. Opens up, the shooters for the shooters. So before we get the grades, I do want to talk a little bit about what the Hawks did, and really just briefly. Again, their shooting percentage just wasn't there in comparison. 26% from three. It was 66 points in the Sixers to 58 in the Hawks in the paint. So again, very close in numbers as far as points in the paint. But again, that 3-point shooting is what wins you games in today's modern day NBA. So that's what gets you the games, and Embiid is what opened that up. Herter out early in the game with 3 fouls, so one of their prime shooters just out of the game. Trae Young, honestly, 28 points, but somewhat of a fraud. I think fraudulent. 28 points, don't like it. Got a lot of those towards the end. Got a lot of these fake free throws that he just threw up a shot and then jumped back to get Ben to hit him in like these really weird ways. Just he's become an annoying person to watch. But I mean, he's 3 for 6 from 3. He does all the same stuff, and yeah, he's throwing it from the parking lot and still making them. But he's just a fraud. Just go home, stay in Atlanta, take another loss, and let's move on to the Nets. But anything else you guys got in the Hawks?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say is that I really like to see that basically like everybody on the Nets getting ahead of myself. Everybody on the Hawks like basically got theirs a little bit. They might have shot low percentages, but they still scored a lot of points, and it just didn't matter. We still blew them out.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah,
And
got theirs.
They also scored a ton of points in garbage time.
Garbage time points. They had the better foul shooting.
We're up by
than
20
us.
in the fourth quarter.
They're probably the better foul shooters, but
It's just like they
It's
got
okay.
points, they scored well, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I feel like they have no chance.
Especially
I
in
think
that
it's
third
easily
quarter.
at this point going
There's
to
a
be
better team.
4-1.
Yeah. All right, I'm moving ahead. It's too bad that Jackson didn't notice what was in that last newsreel, but hopefully the fans caught it because I thought it was pretty funny. Okay, so Game 3 grades. Okay, let's do our normal go around the room, right?
Is this B what you think it is? You think it's a B?
Well, I'm gonna go across the series because I think but it was like the Wizards series. Again, they had to just learn from Game 1, and now they're gonna blow them out in the rest of the game. So it'll probably move up to an A. I'm looking across the whole series, so including Game 1, I'll make it a B.
Sliding in here for where Danny Green was.
So you noticed some animation in there. Very, very good. Good eye there, Flay.
Caputi, your slide skills are getting better, dude.
Oh, are they
Oh,
now?
no.
The pod's just
Okay.
getting better by the week.
That's crazy, isn't it? We're putting more time, more effort. I like it. Jackson's holding down the fort in the dungeon. Let's give some grades, right? All right, so I'm going to give out grades, and they might be – they're all kind of in the A range. All right, Harris, A-, Joel, A, Ben, B, Seth, A, Quirk, Thibault / A. Really, that's more of an A for Quirk. Really just A's all around because this was just a big team win in my mind. I don't think it was one guy who you could give the credit to. But, you know, I mean, all these guys have like +9, +14, +16, +24, ± for Quirk. So they just did things that, as the combination of players going out there on the court, just unworldly play from all these guys, shutting them down on defense, Hawks not getting their shots, and us getting ours. So kind of like an A's all around, but I think they could have, I mean, you know, not the perfect game because the Hawks kind of brought it back a little bit towards the end there. Again, as Britt said, garbage points, but we closed it out pretty easily in this, you know, crazy Hawks Atlanta environment that was going to, you know, tear us apart. But, you know, we shut them up pretty quickly.
Lemon pepper wings had no effect on us.
Got no sauce on us. No spice.
I'll give my grades if you want.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
Yeah, well, I think Flay's actually going to like what I had to say.
We're all
I
here
wanna hear
now.
your grades, Joe.
So let's hear. Let's hear.
All right, so Toby, I'm going to give an A. I mean, well, I'll give him an A- actually. That's probably a good grade because
that's what I gave him.
That's basically what he does. Is 20
that's what
points.
He does. He could do more,
but he did have a good game all around. So I'm gonna keep it an A-.
Yeah.
Obviously Dan Green's out. Joel, you gotta give him a B just because he's too nasty and like that's low points for him.
It's low points because of, you know.
But is
okay,
literally
you know why.
using
But
the Ben Simmons mindset on Embiid, and it's so friggin' hilarious.
I think Brits is just grading him on an Embiid scale.
8 assists.
No, I'm grading on their scale, their player scale.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's a B. I mean, it's an A+ for anybody else in the league. But
I would say that
yeah.
that grade would also does not take into context the fact that he was triple teamed like pretty much the entire game.
I mean,
okay, well, I'm not saying you played bad, but like if we're looking at a kind of like a mostly like a stats like volume like a stats like here, like I'd say like a B like stats wise just for Embiid because he's usually like 30+ points. Like I mean, I guess he had a lot more assists this game.
Yeah, I'm more in the A- just because of the assists. Like he changed his game to still get the win.
It's so funny, dude.
No, it's not because Ben Simmons doesn't score 27 points.
Yes, but relative to what Joel Embiid scores, he scored 27, which is low. And for you, that low scoring of his points is not offset by the fact that he had a crazy amount of assists because he was smartly passing out of the triple team.
But Flay, if Embiid if Ben doesn't have assists, that doesn't mean he's going to have a 40-point game because he can shoot it more because doesn't need to dish it out.
I know
anymore.
that, but I'm just saying that Brits is now using the same mindset to judge this Embiid grade that he would use to judge the Simmons grade.
Well, not really, because I usually give Ben like a C, like a C- when he does bad.
But Ben
I think we've all given good grades to Ben so far.
Yeah, Ben rarely does bad.
Well, points
he
wise,
doesn't have offense. Yeah, but basketball is much more than points.
I understand that, but he's supposed to score. I was gonna go next to Ben. I was gonna give him an A because he played fucking great.
Oh no!
This is what
Play, you salty dog.
I saw this coming. Of course, he's gonna give him an A
because he played great.
Give him an A too. Compared to the grades that I give him when he scores only 4 points and plays lockdown defense, I'm gonna give him an A.
He did his facilitator job. He played great defense like he always does, and he scored 18
One
points.
less assist than Embiid though.
So.
Yeah. It's almost like because Embiid was triple teamed, Simmons had so many more opportunities to score on opportunities that Embiid would have normally taken.
Sure, but I mean,
okay, give us Seth and the fifth guy.
Seth, I'm gonna give a B because he's too nasty for only 12 points.
Okay,
he usually scores more. Like I mean, as of late, he has been.
I think we've raised the bar for Seth.
I'm raising the bar on everybody right now.
We're raising the bar. It's playoffs. Let's raise the bar. Yeah. He can do more.
You can't just give everybody an A because we won.
Although his shots have been amazing. And
it is Atlanta. We got to think Atlanta's not that great of a team compared to us.
You got to think he's taking those pull-up shots too. He's creating space for himself.
He played great
still,
defense. So
still has like a 60% three-point shot percentage. So, but yeah, that's my reason for giving Seth the A. But
I'm gonna
I guess I'll just.
Go ahead,
You
Jackson.
going? Play or B?
You can go, Jackson.
Okay. I guess I'll just roll into it. My scales have also been changing a little bit. I think I've come to appreciate Toby more, and just the fact that like he's so consistent. It's like almost every game he gets you like exactly 20 to 22 points.
I trust it. I trust
such
it.
a great pickup on
yeah,
our part.
he's like even like in years past though, just with Brett Brown or whatever. I don't know. I think he's playing a different role now, and it clearly suits him better. I'm gonna give him an A. I really appreciate how consistent he is. Joel.
Yep.
I'll give an A. I think this is a really impressive game. 27 points while triple teamed is insane. 8 assists with 1 turnover while being triple teamed is even more insane. Also with the leadership, getting Ben into the game in the second half, I think that was really pivotal in winning the game. I think he had like a very solid A performance. Ben Simmons, like B game. I think he had a crazy dominant second half. He had a bad first half. If he can put it together, he'd be in that A range. You hope he can. Maybe he turned over a leaf, and he's just going to be super aggressive from here on out on offense as well as he always is on defense.
Or turned over a flower. Did some more. They love me not.
Wait, you give him a B? You said?
Yeah, I'll give him a B.
Yeah.
Seth Curry, like obviously second half A, but like first half was worse, so brings it down to a B. Seth Curry, a bit of a drop off, but that's expected with shooters. Throughout the series, I'll give him an A, but for today, probably a B minus. The bench, obviously, Cork popped off. He's got an A for today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thibault had a worse game. I'll give him a C.
Fair enough.
C minus. That's right, baby.
Oh, a little tacked on the minus.
And you know what, Dwight? I'll give Dwight a B plus. I think he had a really good game.
Yeah, no, I think he's deserving.
I mean,
that's fair
12
enough.
points from Dwight. You can't ask much more than that.
You can't ask more from him. Scale to player. Scale to player.
I'd try to give him an A for Dwight standards.
Dwight gets an A for me.
Yeah, I would give him an A.
Right. Play. Let's hear these grades.
Play's giving A's. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm giving out some A's. Seth gets a B, I would say, but Simmons, Embiid, Toby, A's for those guys. Danny Green, F for getting injured.
Yeah. Come on, got to do better.
Leaving us hanging, dude. Come on, strengthen that gap.
Got to be there for your team, dude. What are you doing?
Cork, definite A. Shake got a B for him. He played a pretty good game today too. It's good to see him still kind of carrying over from the performance last game. Just really turning around his series. So let's hope that's like a train he's going to ride.
Hopes that's consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. I said Dwight Howard gets an A. He had a solid game. George Hill, C. I definitely expected more from him points wise and defensively. He was still like a little lackluster. I feel like overall our defense is playing really good. It's tough to fault anyone defensively because I feel like there's not one person I'm seeing like that's consistently just getting beat play after play. They're really having a hard time targeting just one of our guys.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And that wraps up.
That's my grades.
I think there's some solid grades. Should we get into this game 4 pregame?
Let's talk about it. Yeah, and let's do it. So
I have
probably
something I wanted to talk about.
Probably just an A plus for the bench all around.
Also,
so
I saw that slander on the bottom of the screen.
So Flay's picking up details. That's good for you, Flay.
Just so you know, that's not true.
Okay, so it's not true. Oh, you missed it. Maybe pay attention to the slides. Don't tell him, Flay.
I'm focused on the pod.
Go back later.
I mean,
okay, that's fair.
I literally was there with the squad.
Oh God, here we go.
I bet you were. All right. Well, the fans probably picked up on it too. These newsreels, they're important now. They got little nuggets.
I wish I didn't read this one.
Little law. I guess you did, huh? All right, guys. What is our strategy, right?
I like this picture.
You like that? I like the little side hairs going on for Ben. He looks good in gray. He looks good with the gray. And Trey's, he's getting stopped. I'm sorry. You're going down, Trey.
Ben honestly looks more jacked like this.
It's kind of surprising how jacked. Well, Ben over here. Gotta love it. All right, guys. I kind of want to get into what the strategy is going to be to win Game 4, right? So we'll do that 1, and then let's go into 2 predictions for what you think is going to happen as far as what Doc might do, the actual outcome of the game, and then who's really going to be the star that's either going to lead us to a win or ultimately have a bad game for a loss. So strategy, 1, what's the strategy? What's the go-to scheme here to win us Game 4?
I kind of sounds, I guess, like an easy way out, but I think we just keep what we got going right now. Like the last 2 games, it seems like Doc's really figured something out after the first game, and
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Like I can't go into his head, but I think he has a lock on the Hawks right now, and he has like a good game plan going on. I think we need to keep it up, really.
Well, I think at this point it's like put Ben on Trae Young, stagger the bench unit with the starters, and sort of let Embiid get triple teamed, pass out if he needs to, and score if he can. And just kind of, it's like at the point where we have the Hawks where we want them, and it's up to them to make the next move.
Yep.
And I don't think we should really change what we're doing until they do that.
Exactly.
Maybe anticipate a little bit of what they're doing, but I think we kind of have like winning formula here.
Have to be able to change on the fly if they do change something up, but right now I think they're just in a mental pretzel. Like they don't know what to do.
That's what I was telling Caputi before we started the pod today. Is like the Hawks basically made all the adjustments they can make. Like they don't have there's no other things that they can really throw at us, like play wise or anything. Like we have all their numbers. We probably still, even if the Hawks started locking down some of our offensive ideas, like even again, like you saw the triple team with Embiid, but he was just passing out of it, and we were shooting like on fire.
You can't quadruple team Embiid.
There's only so many guys you can
put everybody on.
Even 3 guys. I was like, I did not think they would try to pull that, but okay.
A 5-man guard? Is it a quintet?
Double team.
No.
Gangbang.
Just just I don't know what you would call that.
I will say,
but anyway, just one other quick point is that like I think that even if the Hawks started to kind of figure us out, we still have a couple more tricks up our sleeve that we would be able to pull out.
Yes, and I think that's kind of the thing is I think the Hawks are limited by talent. I think we're not, and so that's kind of the thing. I think the strategy is just one word. It's just adapt and just change what you need to literally just keep scoring on them. Or I don't think we have to worry about stopping them as much as just going out there and doing our thing, right? So I think Embiid, I think he has the same strategy. If they come out double, triple team you, just kick it out to the rest of the team, to the bench if you have to, of our shooters and our starters of Seth, Quirk, and Thibault, if he's there for the shot. But adapt, and if they're not running the zone offense and they're trying to defend the perimeter more, then take it to the paint. And Embiid, you go get your 40. Like just adapt to whatever they're doing. We have the talent; they can't stop us. Just keep pushing that momentum, and they just can't keep up with us. That's just to simply put it. Just adapt to whatever they're scheming against us.
I think one thing that'll be interesting to see is, first game, Shake went off. Second game, Korkmaz went off. It seems like every game, somebody from our bench is just absolutely popping off, and it's really helping us out. So who do you guys think in Game 4 is going to be the one to pop off?
See, this is where I was kind of actually going. That's a good segue. I'm actually excited to see if maybe Maxey gets a lot more time with the starters.
Well, I don't think Doc's going to change up anything like that. Like, I think we're going to see the same lineups.
Well, yeah, but maybe just a little bit more time and see maybe he has a good game, like with 15 points.
You have to think that now that Danny Green's out, that automatically bumps somebody who wasn't getting as much playing time to having more playing time.
More time either way. But is that more bench time than what Maxey was already getting? Is it more for Korkmaz? Who is that guy, I guess?
Like we were talking about earlier, Korkmaz is potentially automatically going to get more minutes. We can see a situation where both Korkmaz and Maxey pop off.
I think we're going to see Dwight. Because one thing we haven't acknowledged yet this pod is that Embiid went down a couple of times.
Oh my God, he needs to stop falling
yesterday, and it was like kind of like every single time I was like, my heart dropped.
Dude,
I think that if we get out to a good lead, which this game we really weren't able to break it open until the third quarter, but if we're able to get out to an early lead, we're going to see some heavy Dwight usage as long as he doesn't foul out. So that'll be an interesting thing to see.
I just think you need some good combination of players. Like I think you can't have all starters, all bench. Like if you're going to work in those bench players of Quirk and Thibault or anybody who's going to be able to shoot the three, and hopefully George Hill steps up. I think you have to have a Ben or an Embiid in there just to give them that spacing that they need. Like, I think that's kind of the offensive strategy. I think the defensive strategy is just, the Hawks need the threes to win. That's what we saw from game one in how they won. So I think you want to defend the perimeter, make them try to shoot down low. All they do is dunk or throw alley-oops up there between Trey and Collins. That's like their only game. So
Embiid actually
keep them
figured
to
that
point
out, too.
paints. Keep them to the point and not outside.
Yeah.
Embiid had that lob number. And I think with a guy like Maxey and even Ben, who they're so good at getting to the player from behind, like Embiid just knows that all he has to do is defend the lob, and we have a chance of having someone else get the tip from the back.
Yeah, and
I had to sneeze, but it didn't come out.
So now it's just an embarrassing
Yeah.
thing. Cork, right? Plus 24 plus minus. Like, that doesn't happen by Cork. Like, he scored 14 points. So that's not just him.
That's also
the
him playing
combination
good
of
defense,
the
though.
quality of also great defense, but the quality of the team around him giving him that high of a plus minus.
Well,
Like,
you love to see it because it's like he doesn't lower the team by any means by being out there.
he doesn't lower the
That just
team, but
means he was
also
only making positive plays.
That's what I mean. He's like only positively affecting us when he's out there.
right, but also it's a good, indication that he's with a good combination of players that's allowing him to score that many points or play to that level. Because that's the thing with plus minus. It doesn't necessarily describe it individual's performance as much as it's kind of indicative of the combination of the players that are on the court. Because it may not account for the quality of the team around you as much.
I don't know if that's true. I think they calculate it based on like the specific players, like if they make positive or negative.
It depends what plus minus you're looking into. Because I was looking into this a little bit more earlier today. Because say Cork comes in and the time that he starts in the game, by the time he leaves, the whole team's points go up by 5. That's a +5 for Cork for the plus minus, at least for the box score plus minus. So we have to take that into account. It's really weird. They just started doing this not too long ago, I think in like 2008. So that's just, I know we bring up plus minus a lot, so I wanted us to think about that a little bit too. It's not necessarily like there's more stats that indicate more of the player's performance, but you have to consider it's also dependent upon the players around them.
Okay.
So
I think honestly in this whole series, like the eye test alone just tells you that the Sixers are just out and out the better team.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think if you can, with these crappy refs that we've dealt with these past 2 series, just try to limit the fouls too. Obviously, you don't want him beat out. Obviously, you don't want your big guys out. Don't foul Trey as much as you can, as much as he's trying to bump into you, because they're hitting their shots. And those are three things for me. Try to force the 2-3 zone again, double triple team Embiid. We're fine with it. Limit the Hawks to 2-point shots, and I said we get another easy win.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bing, bang, boom.
Are we all thinking we're 1-6ers at this point?
Let's get back to Wells Fargo. Yeah, I don't think that the Hawks win another game.
Yeah, it's really tough for me to say anything but 4-1. If anything, I would give them 1 at home and then call it 4-2.
That's what I called, I'm pretty sure, in the last pod.
Yeah, now that I listened to our last pod, like earlier today, I was feeling more of a 6-game series, just knowing that we understand what we need to do to win.
I mean, now I'm thinking it's like we might just win next.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was easy 5 games.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we're kind of looking ahead a little bit, right? So what the hell happened in Game 3? Bucks had the home court. Like, it was fun to watch, but it was just a weird game to watch because of how low scoring it was. Like, I mean, how much, the Nets were held to 11 points in the first quarter and then only 15 points from the Bucks in the second quarter. Just really
low, 11 points in the first quarter?
11 in the first. Really low scoring game. And the final score ended up being 86-83 Bucks. But it was just a weird game. It seemed like I said earlier, from 40 years ago where they could play street ball and there was just no fouls whatsoever. Fun to watch. Bucks get the win at home. Hopefully they just drag this thing out. But guys, I'm feeling better from the Hawks series, just seeing what we can do with how good our percentages as far as shooting looks. I think we can keep up with the Nets as long as we keep doing what they're doing. And if they have crap games like this where they just, can't keep up.
I'm feeling better and better each game, honestly, like about how our chances against the Nets.
I saw the second half of this Bucks Nets game, and I think it's kind of like a roadmap of how we need to play the Nets. Like, this is a game, and the Bucks.
Doc's watching.
The Bucks didn't play.
You have to be.
The Bucks played really good defense, but they they weren't like hot offensively. They were just like they're average, And that I think that tells us that like the only way you beat the Nets is locking them down defensively. You can have an average offensive night, but again, like I said earlier, like I think we can feed the ball to Embiid, and there's not a single player on the Nets who is going to be able to stop him. Like,
yeah.
So as long as we're locking them down defensively, which is easy to say, hard to do.
It's very
hard to do. That's how the series is going to be won, is on the defensive side.
Easy on paper, absolutely.
Who's going to lock and beat down Blake Griffin? Like,
I just really think
that's what some of these wild Nets fans are saying, and that's one of the most ridiculous takes.
Nobody's been able to do it throughout the entire year. Like, you think he's going to come in?
Clint Capella is bigger than Blake Griffin, and Embiid literally throws him around like a rag doll sometimes. Like,
and Embiid just pulls out all the weapons. Like, you can't stop him in the paint. He'll get some space and he'll take the turnaround jumper, and then he'll kick it out in the three spot and just throw that up too. He'll just do whatever he wants, dude.
Honestly,
it's crazy.
Like, Embiid is like he's like the Bob Dylan or the Beatles of basketball. He can kind of just like take everyone's moves, like a little bit of Hakeem, a little bit of Derek, and just kind of like repurposes it with his own little Embiid twist, and just kills it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a thing that Embiid does bad.
No, I mean, not really.
Honestly, I can't critique like really any parts of his game.
I mean, the only critiques that we had in the past was, if you think about it, it was like his maturity, his endurance,
there was
and
nothing
his
in that
diet.
That couldn't be improved or fixed.
Basketball thing that I can think of was we were always worried about what happened when he got in the double team, and he improved that crazy this year. He's so much better coming out of the double team.
He can score on the double team or kick it out. He has two options for that.
I've noticed like he's gotten really smart with even like just like his footwork and like using like a fake pass to make the defender on the double team take like 2 steps over and just get that extra space and like, just things like that, like little things, like you can tell he's been working on it in the off season.
And that's why he's a
different guy.
That's why I like no cap, dude. Embiid is the best player in the NBA. There's
that's why I go
player who can do everything that he can do.
That's why I go back to Britz's question and I say easy answer. There's nobody else I would take. Nobody.
I do just think we have to be wary of like how good the Nets actually are, because like Embiid is the best player in the NBA, but like Durant, Kyrie, and Harden are also like all top 10, and none of our other players are even close to as good as them. I think that like they're going to absolutely take at least 2 games from us, and it's going to be a very, very hard fought series.
That's why it's going to be
a nail biter.
It's got to be a defensive series for us, like.
I think we might.
You have to score hella points on offense.
It might be just an offensive.
Jackson, that's what I'm telling you is that
bloodshed.
That game 3 showed us that you don't have to score a ton of points as long as you have to play amazing defense. If you don't play defense first, you're not going to win, even if you put up points.
I think though that like realistically, like this game is sort of like a fluke. Like there's such good offensive players. I saw a stat that like 90% of Durant's shots were contested, and like he was still like hitting an insane percentage of them. You can absolutely defend these guys like crazy, and they'll still just get 30 points on you. Like it's nothing. And we really just, I know we have to lock down on defense, but we really have to put like on a show on offense to even stand a chance.
Go ahead, Britt.
What's the timeline on Harden's injury?
So I think he's out for tonight's game too.
Okay.
He could potentially be back for our series though, which is going to be insanely scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
They also are already like running a very low bench. I think they're only running like 3 guys.
Do you think that they're trying to rest Harden for our potential series?
Probably.
That's a bold move on there, and the Bucks are not a bad team. It's
they're not a team to just
But if you're the Nets and you are coming off of those first 2 games, you're feeling pretty good.
That's
You're
true.
thinking you could win Game 3 and pretty much close it out.
Dude, the Bucks are
I
so
think
weird.
I think Blake Griffin had a unicorn game where he just went off, but I don't know if we're gonna see Blake Griffin do that consistently.
Well, we're gonna
the
have
rest of the-
Joel on him, so definitely.
Yeah,
not gonna-
and so
no, Brits. It's gonna be Blake on Joel. Get it
oh,
right.
my
dude.
bad. Yeah, Blake Griffin's gonna freaking come out of the woodwork and stop Joel Embiid.
I'm just saying it's
My
gonna be tough.
ass.
Because, like,
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a fun
We thi-
series to watch, man. It's gonna be some amazing basketball.
yeah.
it's just like we think it's tough to cover like Trey, like to stop Trey. When we have like 2 players that are better than Trey, both attacking you, potentially 3, it's gonna be wild.
So I think the story is because you can't stop them. Like you just can't do it. So I think it's like, can you stop
can
them?
slow 'em down,
Can
but-
you slow them down just enough where our scoring
have
can
to-
be you can score enough? Basically, I think it's going to be an offensive back and forth.
You have to make
Like-
it so that the Stars really have to play on their A game. Like they really
Like
they cannot have
Like they have to play their best game.
That's what I'm saying. You have to make it so every game they have to play their absolute best to beat us. That's what it's gonna come down to. Because I mean, there's gonna be times where like, if we do lock them down, they could slip up. You know, like they could like they're human. It's not like they can't like
And
have
take
bad games.
advantage of that.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what the Bucks did last
Yeah.
game. So
Yep. And so just quick stats. This was basically a stars versus stars, like an all-star game kind of battle where Middleton, 35 points, 15 rebounds. Giannis, 33 points, 14 rebounds. So literally 68 points of the 86 points scored on their team.
Wow.
Low
Durant.
percentages though. Didn't
And
Giannis go like 1
low
for 8 from
percentage.
3?
So I'll get to that.
Giannis
Durant,
shot 8 threes.
Durant, 30 points, 11 rebounds. Kyrie, 22, 5 rebounds. So it was literally 2v2, those guys doing everything. But the field goal percentages were 38% for the Bucks, 36 for the Nets. So just a terrible, terrible night. You got to take advantage of nights like that where our defense can slow them down a little bit. And Sixers, can you still get that 60% and close it out pretty easily? Maybe that would be nice to see. But yeah, it was just kind of a fluke of a night, maybe on both ends shooting wise. But yeah, I mean, with the Nets and Bucks, they kind of been not as high scoring games as I get. We're just playing the Hawks, but still, I think our shooting, just the amount of points that we've been able to get, I think we got to go lights out and just continue hitting our shots, especially from 3. Cork, Seth, we need it from those guys to give us a chance against the Nets.
It's gonna take
Well-
more of the same than what we're doing right now, and we just gotta
I
do it
mean,
against
A lot
better
of the
team.
same. Just keep doing what we're doing.
Gotta do it
It's
against a better
gonna
team.
be it's gonna be
basically,
exciting.
we're gonna have to fire on all cylinders.
Yeah.
It feels like the entire
That's
year
what playoffs are
everybody's
for.
known
Yeah.
that it's going to end up being the Sixers versus the Nets in the finals, and it's all been building towards this like moment next
Yeah.
series.
And real quick, and we'll move on to the next topic. But the other day when it was Game 1 and we lost the Hawks and we were all feeling a little scared, I thought about the next round, the Hawks playing the Nets, and I just laughed. I was just like, they just wouldn't stand a chance. So the Sixers should probably win this series. Anyway, it was just a funny joke. Like Hawks next, that just can't happen. All right, I'm just gonna let that news reel.
Yeah, imagine
tick,
playing a
tick.
better opponent in your second round playoff than your third round playoff.
Anyway, all right. So the Hurts locker, not a 40th QB? Are you kidding me, Chris Sims?
Go off.
Are
dude.
you fucking
to him.
kidding me, dude? How could you possibly know what you're talking about when you have, for your career stats, 3,000 yards, more interceptions than touchdowns, 18 to 12, and a 58% completion percentage? Dude,
Chris Sims said that.
you can't put this guy outside of Case Keenum and Carson at 18th. What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Have you go get your eyes checked, dude? Were we watching the same football last year? Like I can't, guys. I can't. And I feel like Jackson's gonna disagree with me and give me some reason that he's probably right, because looking at what we looked at last year, like Jalen may not even be a starter, but not even top 40th.
I
Like
mean,
a
that's
backup
ridiculous.
player
It's a
somewhere?
ridiculous statement, but also
Stretch of a claim. Get out of
Seven-
here, Chris Sims.
7 backup quarterbacks
Bye.
better than him.
I would like to point
Bye.
out, I'm pretty sure you spelled his name wrong, but he doesn't even deserve to have his name spelled right. with that fucking statement.
I don't even care. I don't care. I don't care.
Nah, I
Just
mean
for
that's way too
service.
low. That's not even in starter
Yeah. Okay.
territory.
All right.
It,
No, it's
is
not.
he? I mean, like honestly, he should probably be in like the 20s. You know what I mean? Because like
Okay,
he's
okay.
unproven.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say like a 25 to 28, 29 ranking.
Right where the
would be
team is.
Totally fine. Yeah, exactly.
40 is disrespectful.
That's straight disrespect, dude. That's
it's crazy.
That's actual, and I hope Hurts like takes some motivation in that. Not that I think that like a lot of these guys like care about what these guys
What
say, but like
Chris Sims says.
let that fire you up, boy. Like,
I think
Who gives
go.
a shit
mad-
what Chris
get
Sims
mad.
says? Who gives a shit what Chris Sims says?
I think
I
he
know.
should go out and throw more than 40 touchdowns.
Clearly, I do.
I mean, I saw
40
the other
touchdowns, I
day
love that.
he,
40 from 40.
in terms of like fantasy production, he's like a top 10 quarterback.
That's true. I did read a lot about that actually. People are saying
That's
like
that's only based on his 4-game like sample size of starts. But
his rushing touchdowns.
You want to see somebody pissed, Jackson? I think he put Justin Fields at 39th.
What?
Really? I mean, that's like
Some
I guess he's
disrespect
got
right
something
there.
weird
This
with
guy's
his
just trying to
rankings,
become relevant
Some
by saying
disrespect.
ridiculous claims. That's what it is. He's trying, that's what people do when they're
Mr.
just when
Mid
they're
hot takes.
when
then.
they're
He must be
irrelevant.
going
I
off
know.
the past and not like
yeah, Chris
this
Sims
immediate
is like
future.
kind of relevant.
Yeah, but
Not
I mean,
not to us.
that's really the news on the Eagles. Honestly, Dickerson's still not signed. I'm thinking it's injury related. I have no idea what that means contract wise. Trevin Grimes on IR, so he's not waived from the team, but he's still with the Eagles, just on IR, so we still have him.
I'm
we
thankful
could see,
for that, man.
We could see how he pans out. Yeah, I would like to see if he can.
It's
it's one of
that he
those.
got hurt.
It's one of those like Cinderella stories. Like, can he produce and undrafted kind of guy who comes in actually makes a production and makes a difference on the team, makes an impact. So we'll see what that turns into. But really, nothing else on the Eagles, guys. Just me getting more mad at rankings and just calling us the underdogs, man. I hate it.
Caputi, I like this whole like kind of like going off thing. We should make this a segment going.
I'll make it more of a thing. I can do it.
Like,
that's what Philly fans are.
State what's bothering them that day about the Eagles or about the.
Got a real bone to pick with Chris Sims. Yeah. No. So, all right, guys, we're coming to a land. It's a shorter pod this week. But with that said, you guys are getting another one on Tuesday. So we're recording Monday, kicking out another pod on Tuesday after we watch Game 4, and then we'll do a little pregame talk on Game 5 for the Hawks.
Throwing them out now.
Assuming that 5 is the last one to talk about with the Hawks. So expect something on Tuesday for us to come out for 2 pods this week for 2 wins so far for the Sixers.
Double up on you guys.
Yeah,
double down.
We're really launching out the pods.
All right. And remember that spiders would win in a fight of any size of any animal. So that's all I got for you guys today. We launched and
landed.
Landed.
Okay. All right. I was waiting for it. All right. We'll see you guys next time. See you soon. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.